Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this.
Your All-American starting five.
Well, we got to go Zach Edey to start. I don't even think it's an even question. He's going to be the back-to-back National Player of the Year. I'm going to go Dalton Connect is my next pick on this team. I think if it wasn't for Zach Edey, we would be talking about him for National Player of the Year. I think Terrence Shannon has to be up there. What he's doing and for that Illinois squad is, and again, if Zach Edey's not in the Big Ten, and Terrence Shannon would be in consideration for Big Ten Player of the Year. Really believe that. I think R.J. Davis is on my squad. Carolina right in the mix right now to win an ACC championship. He's got to be up there. And then I'm going to throw out a name that I think is one of the greatest stories in all of college basketball, and Tyon Grant Foster from Grand Canyon. Really remarkable. That team is going to win a game in the NCAA tournament. I am convinced. When I fill out my bracket, I've got Grand Canyon advancing in the NCAA tournament. Again, one of the best stories in all of college basketball. So those are my five right now, Fanta. Could it change in a week? It could, but that's who I'm going to roll with right now.
Goodman, do you agree? Where do you disagree?
You can't argue with Edey and Connect. Those are 1 and 2. I think on everybody's list, they should be 1 and 2 for the most part. If you don't Connect 2, you could have them 3, but they're there. RJ Davis is a lock too. I don't think you can argue with those 3. Shannon, just because of the suspension, you don't know whether you put him on or not. He missed some games. Obviously, if he had played the whole year, I think he would be a lock as a first-team All-American. I'm going to put Tyler Kolek on there instead. Just because, again, to me, he's the best.
He's from New England.
Guard in the country. He is from Rhode Island. Yes, that does qualify. Hopefully, he's okay with it.
It's amazing. Anybody from New England it's going to be on Goodman's list. Anybody.
They get a little bump. They get the Goodman bump if they're from New England. You did not when you were coaching at UMass. You didn't get it. You're not really a New Englander.
Bad hire.
You were a fake New Englander.
I'm an Ocalian.
That's what you were.
I'm an Ocalian. I'm an Ocala, Florida.
Exactly.
Okay?
Nobody could understand what the hell you were saying. You're yelling and screaming on the sidelines. I needed somebody to give me sign language for what you were saying. The last guy was the toughest pick for me. I went with Jamal Shedd. as my 5th guy. He's the best player on today, the number 1 team in the country. And you know what? He's probably the best all-around point guard in the country when you factor in defense and scoring and distributing and toughness and all that. Again, Shedd and Kolek, it's like, honestly, splitting hairs to me. They're that good. And Edey, Connect, and R.J. Davis are locks, in my opinion. Fanta?
I wrote it out before the show. And look at that. It's great radio.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes. Jeff Goodman and I are matching.
Talk about a connected team.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk about a connected team.
Yeah, exactly. Look, it's to me, and I think that like Edey, Connect, Davis, Kolek, and Shedd.
Yep.
Tristan Newton was under consideration in my book. He really was, because I just think UConn's like a victim of their own success. They don't have one singular dude that's exceptional. But Shedd, to me, though, the biggest takeaway, Jeff, Dalton Connect gives me Jimmer Fredette, Doug McDermott bucket-getting vibes. Yes. This is like Northern Colorado to basically being consensus 2 or 3 in list of players in the country, in which we all knew who the number 1 player in the country was coming into the year. This is unbelievable what Connect is doing. Jeff, are you putting Connect in Tennessee? Are they in Tier A in national championship teams? If you made the tier of 4 teams, is Tennessee in there? Are you ready to totally buy into the concept that now's the time for Rick Barnes to get his title, that there will never be a better chance?
Yes, I agree with what you just said, but I'm not ready to put him in that first tier. I got him in that next tier. And the first tier to me is still UConn and Purdue. And then I think it's still Houston to me in the tier with Tennessee, maybe with Arizona. I still worry about Houston scoring the ball when it gets down to it. I do. I just don't know if they have enough offense. Obviously, they're going to play a grinder. They're going to wear you down. I just worry. I saw it. Now, is it Fog Allen? I saw it when Jamal Shed played his really D game. I mean, he was terrible. He hasn't played like that all year, but I worry even if he plays his C game, they don't have enough to withstand that. They don't.
McCall, give a counterpoint here. Should Houston be in Tier A?
Yeah, and you know what? When I'm looking at my All-American team, and I put Ty and Grant Foster on there from Grand Canyon, Jamal Shed is right there. Jamal Shed's going to win Big 12 Player of the Year. Go back to the game this past weekend against Baylor and what they did in overtime. When Shed hits the shot, and think about this, Jeff, and you've seen this happen so many times in college basketball. Everyone on Houston's bench thinks the game's over. They think the game is over. They won the game at the buzzer. They are celebrating, including Kelvin Sampson. And when they found out the game wasn't over and they had to go to overtime, the level of focus that team had coming out of that timeout, we have seen so many teams in that situation have a dip and lose that game in overtime. And Houston was almost like, put more time on the clock. We want to keep playing this game. We're going to keep kicking their ass. Put more time on the clock. Put more time on the clock. That's how we're playing. And that mentality and watching what they did in overtime on the road to win that game, that put them in the same category as UConn and Purdue for me. That was so impressive to see. There was no letdown. They played that next 5 minutes like they were on a mission, and they won that game. And to me, overtime really wasn't even close. So when I saw that and I saw the response in overtime, I'm like, okay, we need to put them in that next tier. They are there. And that guy in Shed is Big 12 Player of the Year.
Yeah, I've never felt a number one team in the country and a number one team in Ken Pomeroy gets more disrespected. And it's kind of it's an oxymoron. But they're 25-3 and they play in the toughest conference in college basketball. If their name was Kansas, I think we'd be talking about them in Tier A. It's just my take. I think that because they haven't broken through and because of the style in which they play, there's a doubt factor there. But honestly, that offense is ranked 18th in efficiency in the country. Tell me why I'm wrong there.
Depth. I think it's depth for me. It's more depth that I just look at UConn and I say a guy can have an off night and UConn can win. Like you said, Tristan Newton can have an off night and UConn can beat a great team. You know, to me, Purdue, Edie's not going to have an off night, but Braden Smith could, Fletcher Lawyer could. They've got other guys, Lance Jones. I feel like they're just not deep enough that if you've got Shed, you got Cryer, who went through a bad stretch in the middle of the year where he couldn't make shots and they struggled. And then you've got Emmanuel Sharp. Those are your three dudes. If they don't score, you're not getting a whole lot down low. Roberts was good the last game, but he's not going to get you 17 very often.
Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.